just want to introduce myself. My name is John Odell. I'm the Chief of Sustainability and for the City of Worcester. I am going to play MC for today. And so my first job, of course, is that as MC is to start introducing folks to welcome us to this event. We're really looking forward. We're very grateful for you to come out here today. This is shaping up to be a really fun event where you can not only learn new things about what the city is doing, what some of our partners are doing, but also you get to participate in actual planting in our Milwaukee forest, which is out in the parking lot behind me right now. So we'll get a chance to do that too. So without further ado, let me first introduce the mayor of Worcester, Joe Petty, who has been a strong supporter of our department and our efforts for many, many years. Please give a warm welcome to Joe Petty.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here today. I want to thank everybody for their support of Milwaukee and Forest and everything you do for climate change. And John, I just want to thank you and your whole team with the resilience of sustainability and resilience in organizing this event. Christian King, who's in chair of Urban Ties, is also with us today. City Manager Eric Batista, thank you for all your support you're doing with the climate. Well, I just want to welcome everybody to an inaugural Green Worcester Summit, an event that we come together to learn about addressing one of the most pressing challenges of our time, which of course is climate change. Climate change not only impacts our weather, it intersects with public health and wellness. The City of Worcester has long recognized the urgency of addressing climate change issues. Our journey began over 2 decades ago when the City Council took a proactive stance by joining Cities of Climate Protection campaign in 2003. This marked the beginning of a series of resolutions and commitments aimed at raising public awareness and putting measures in place to combat climate change. When the Asian longhorn beetle infestation occurred in 2008, the Council and the City Manager, Michael O'Brien, worked with our local state and federal representatives to create the Worcester Tree Initiative, Mary Niddle, which was part of it. Did you run that, Mary? I think you might have, right? That you were the chair. And the effort planted over 30,000 trees. And I want to thank Mary and the whole organization. I remember they actually in the neighborhoods teaching people how to plant trees and how to take care of them. That took about 5 years. And in 2019, the City Council declared a climate emergency, which was a commitment to keeping our city a great place to live for our children and grandchildren. The council endorsed the city's Worcester Green Worcester plan, our roadmap for making Worcester the greenest mid-sized city in the country, which was 2 years later. Most recently, I put in a request for this past fall, for the city manager to work with different city departments to plant another 2,000 street trees over the next 2 years. Just a reminder, Mr. Mayor. Although this is a big task, it is crucial. We understand that planting trees is one of the best ways to tackle various environmental issues like extreme heat, flooding, and air quality, and so much more. As mayor of the city, I'm committed to working with the City Council to make sure we follow through on our promises that the city has made in agreeing with the plan. We are in this together. We will keep pushing for positive change. This is why we're so excited to see the Department of Sustainability and Resilience, in collaboration with other city departments, take on the project of planting 2 pilot Milwaukee forests here in the city of Worcester, including running one outside here in the library parking lot. And I encourage you all to go out there today and plant some trees. And Maya's still here too, I think, but she must be outside coordinating still. But and one great consultants who really took the time out to do a great job. I want to thank them and all the city departments. Once again, just want to thank everybody for attending the summit. Your participation emphasizes our collective determination to tackle climate change head on and create a greener, more resilient city of Worcester. So I wish everyone the best and have a wonderful day today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was great. It's my pleasure now to introduce our City Councilor King. Councilor King chairs the Urban Tie Commission, which our department responds to in terms of the City Council. So it's with great pleasure, Councilor King.
Good morning, everyone. How are we? We good? Ready for a day of action? All right. A second welcome to the Green Worcester Summit as Vice Chair of the City Council and Chair of Urban Technologies and Innovation and Environment Standing Committee. And so quite a long title. I'm proud to be here and speak about the amazing ways Worcester has become more resilient. A day of action, a day of hands-on experience, a day of community. Thank you to the city's Department of Sustainability and Resilience. We know that the city and the department were active in making sure that we get awarded the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant that has helped us build this Milwaukee forest, which provide improved air quality, reduces urban heat and flooding. We also want to say a thank you to my colleagues at the Worcester City Council who approved the Green Worcester Plan, which is one of the most climate resilient, makes us one of the most, with the goal of being one of the most climate resilient mid-sized cities by 2050. And these events, again, show that we are a city of action. Thank you for everyone for coming out today. I'm looking forward to coming back with my daughter this afternoon after she gets out of soccer or baseball and get some hands-on work and making us a better city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor King. I'm looking forward to you having coming back. Anyone who goes out there, you get to plant something. You can literally a decade or 2 or 3 from now, you can come back, or your kids can come back and say you helped plant that. That's the whole idea. So, real chance. Even if you just plant one, you can take ownership, which would be great. So, I'd like to next introduce our city manager, Eric Batista. Our city manager has been incredibly supportive of our efforts to move forward in implementing our Green Worcester plan. While he was not city manager at the time of the creation of the Green Worcester plan, he has been its champion ever since he became city manager. We're very happy and pleased to be working with him. I certainly am very pleased to be working with him in support of implementing the plan. He's been nothing but supportive of all our efforts. So with that, I'd just like to introduce our city manager, Eric Batista.
Thanks, John. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I actually have I brought my son with me too. He's over there playing with my chief of staff, trying to entertain him, playing chess. Hopefully we'll get some chance to get outside. But again, I'm just pleased to be here, our first Green Worcester Summit. And this is important for all of us here in this community, especially for the department. It's a small department, but it's a mighty department. But I'd like to begin thanking Jason Homer and the Worcester Public Library for hosting us today. I also can't go on without recognizing the mayor and the city council for their support of our sustainability and resiliency initiatives and appreciating the need to tackle impacts of climate change head on. But again, a lot of this doesn't happen without the residents and the people who are, most of them, volunteering their efforts. And that's a big part of the Green Worcester Advisory Committee. Today's speakers and all the community partners, again, the city cannot do this by itself. The city cannot achieve all these goals without all of you. And a huge thank you to John and the Sustainability Office for their leadership, for his leadership, and the leadership of the entire office for creating this event and the incredible work that they do every day. And you can see the impact they've had overall the entire city. And I'm just going to name a few stuff. Increasing renewable energy through the Green Worcester electricity program. Our specialized stretch code that goes into effect in just a couple of months. Working towards zero waste. We're working towards a zero waste master plan. Preserving our lakes and ponds. Installing electrical vehicle charging stations, which I take pleasure of utilizing almost on a day-to-day basis. I have an electric vehicle. Assisting with the implementation of complete streets. And right now we're having the efforts at Endicott Street. That's going to be really good for us. And then the Milwaukee Forest that we have here, planting 2 Milwaukee forests, and one of which you have the chance to also contribute today. But much of their work is guided by the Green Worcester Plan, which was a product of years of development and even predates the department itself. Since at least 2018, the city's administration has recognized the urgent need of Worcester to develop a sustainability plan. What started as a mere vision became a roadmap for making Worcester the greenest mid-sized city in the country. As city manager, I am honored to support our staff in implementing this crucial plan. Together, we are fully committed to achieving the ambitious goals outlined within it. Since the Green Worcester Plan was released 3 years ago, we have created the Department of Sustainability and Resiliency, now has a staff of 11, and formed a volunteer group, the Worcester Advisory Committee, with 7 community members representing each district. DSR's work leverages and elevates the work of city departments, including the Department of Transportation, which is tremendous, the Department of Public Works and Parks, and the Executive Office of Economic Development. The Green Worcester Plan also encompasses a wide range of initiatives, including renewable energy, water conservation, waste reduction, and even more. But today our focus is on building resilience in the face of climate changes impacts of our city, which if we don't do something about it, we'll probably have waterfronts here in Worcester. Bus is gonna start creeping in. But let me emphasize this. This plan is not just about city facilities and staff. It's about each and every one of you. When we developed the Green Worcester Plan, we listened to the voices of our residents through surveys and public meetings, and the overwhelming consensus was clear that Worcester is ready to become a greener and more sustainable city. Your involvement is absolutely essential to the success of our efforts. So I hope you find today's session informative and inspiring. Again, take the opportunity to make a tangible impact by planting trees in the library's parking lot, and most importantly, bring the knowledge and inspiration you gain here back to your home, your neighborhoods, and also your communities. Together, we can make a real difference in tackling the challenges of climate change. So I wish you all a fantastic and enriching day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. That was excellent. And so our last speaker, before I speak again at the end, quick slide just to let everyone know what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day. I'd like to welcome our Green Worcester Advisory Committee Chair, Mary Niddle. She has chaired our committee for since the beginning. We have done a lot of good stuff through that committee. We have found our way through it, sometimes through some challenges, and Mary's always been the kind of leader to guide us through with aplomb. So without further ado, I give you Mary Niddle.
Good morning, and thanks everybody for being here. I'm clearly dressed for planting. As the mayor mentioned, I did a lot of work with the Worcester Tree Initiative. The Asian longhorn beetle infestation impacted our neighborhood and Burncoat Street directly. And the beauty of it was that the neighbors got involved. It was a hands-on, everybody involved effort. And that is what today's event is kicking off for the city of Worcester. The Miyawaki Forests, which Evelyn Hurwitz, who's not here yet today, brought to the committee and brought to the city, a great way for everybody to get their hands into the soil and begin to feel about, the value of contributing to the future. I drive around Burncoat neighborhood every day, and I think about who I planted that tree with, what happened during those times. And it's a great feeling. So I hope that you get that feeling from everything today. I want to mention the other folks on the committee. I mentioned Evelyn Hurwitz, she's the vice chair. Pat Austin is here, Ted Khanna. Nate Fournier just stepped off, but his leadership and thought process and contribution has been very valuable. Mary Leovich and Deirdre Murphy. So thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for chipping in. And let's take with us the message that our individual steps every day can incrementally assist in the sustainability of the city. We're not just waiting for somebody else to do something. We can do our part, and we can start here, and then we can go home and tell our friends. And next year, maybe we'll have 10 times the number of people. So thanks, everybody. Glad to be here.
Well, thanks, Mary, for setting the bar at 10 times the number of people for the next one. So that's good. So I have a quick slide deck to run through, just sort of giving you an overview of why we're here and some of the, and also to, and additionally thank a few people. Most of them have been thanked already, which is great, but we'll run through them again. So again, my name's John Odell. So what is climate resilience? That will be a primary topic that will be touched on throughout this presentation here. We'll talk about some of the city's resilience work. And when I say the city, Worcester's resilience work, I'm not just talking about the work the city government has done, but also some of the work that our partners have done as well. You'll hear about talks about that, which is great. So especially if you can be involved with some of that work also, it can be very empowering because it's not directed with us, it's with a whole separate group that you can join and learn from as well. We're going to look to the future, see what's coming next over the next year or so, as well as some of the more longer term efforts and goals we have. We'll talk about what you can do yourself, how you can get involved. And of course, we'll have a little closing effort as well. I want to obviously thank our city officials, elected officials, which we just talked about, for their support for many, many years, but especially for today. I'd like to thank my team. They've been unbelievable. I can't tell you, putting these kinds of events together is not as easy as it looks. You do know it when you go to a bad one, and you've all had that experience. So hopefully this will be one of the good ones. It's a lot of effort, and I just want to thank these guys, Lou Bizarova, and Jesse Davis, I think in the back, Sarah Mounts, who's here as well. They're amazing. And Miranda's out in the hallway too, greeting folks. The Green Worcester Advisory Committee, I want to thank them for their support, ongoing support. They've been great. I want to also thank Evelyn Hurwitz specifically, as our chair, Mary just pointed out. She literally planted the seed for this idea, pun intended. And so I want to thank her specifically for the bringing that concept to us so that we could implement it here. I will also point out something that a lot of folks aren't aware of. In Massachusetts, there are a number of these Milwaukee forests that are going are in design or actually have been built. We are not the first to do it. We are the first community, to my knowledge, in Massachusetts are doing 2 of them, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing that's also, I think, unique for us in Massachusetts is we're the first to do the reverse of the Joni Mitchell song, which you may have heard of. The idea is that we're actually taking out pavement and putting in a slice of paradise. You remember the song, and I can't remember the lyrics, but you know what I mean. It's all humming in your head now. So, of course, I want to thank the library for their efforts, Jason Homer and his team, who allowed us this space and have worked with us in terms of the logistics. They've been fantastic. The Department of Transportation Mobility, the parking division specifically, who have given up some parking spaces to allow us to put in this Milwaukee forest. And most importantly, as the city manager alluded to, I want to thank you guys for showing up today. It's a gorgeous day. It's Mother's Day weekend. There's a lot of other things you could have done, but you chose to be here. So I want to thank you for that. It's really means a lot for us. It helps us inspire us to keep on going forward, and hope this event will help inspire you as well. So why are we here? Climate change in Worcester is a real thing. It was tied for the hottest year, and I'm talking about Worcester, not the world, but for Worcester, it's tied for the hottest year we've ever had since 2012. It was the 4th rainiest year we've ever had. It was the warmest winter we ever had this past winter. So as you can see from the map and the charts here, it's only, and the irony is that, as the saying goes, this is probably going to be the coldest winter for the next 40 years, and maybe more, depending on what we do. So for many of us, someone my age, it may be the coldest winter I'll experience for the rest of my life. It's pretty daunting when you think about that. So that is sort of laying the cards on the table. We have, it's a call to action. So what is climate resilience? It's the act of preparing communities and our infrastructure, our ecosystems to adapt and actually thrive in the face of these anticipated climate change impacts, such as being adaptable for severe flooding, extreme heat, and increased ice storms. We also want to talk briefly about environmental justice. Equity is one of the 3 lenses, along with economic prosperity and health, for the Green Worcester Plan. And so we recognize that certain communities are going to be more impacted by climate change. They're on the front lines, if you will. And we want to make sure that our efforts focus primarily in these environmental justice areas first. Some of these have already been touched on, but I want to just very quickly just note some of our recent resilience efforts include the municipal vulnerability plan itself. We did a flood complaint evaluation map. We're doing an ongoing drainage and green infrastructure master plan, which we will have a conversation about at the next session over in the Banks room if you're interested. We did a heat vulnerability assessment. You can see the map right here. The red obviously is where it's hotter in the winter, right in our downtown core. That is also directly in line with what the mayor had talked about in terms of planting 2,000 trees, hopefully over the next couple of years. The goal is to plant them in these areas, which incidentally often overlap with the environmental justice area as well. So we want to be planting here to help minimize that effect. We have our done more than 20 green infrastructure projects across the city, not just by the city, but by our partners as well, since 2019. So that's in rain gardens and bioswales and similar. We're planting the 2 Miyawaki forests. I think you might have heard about those. And then we also designed 2 cool pockets. So a cool pocket could have a Miyawaki forest in it, but it doesn't necessarily have one. It's basically a place where we design places of shade for community, so that people can gather and get out of the heat, basically. Where 2 locations are at the Columbus Park Elementary School and the Vernon Hill Park. So looking forward, we have a couple things we want to talk about. Many of these will be talked about in further sessions going forward. Our urban forest master plan, our drainage and green infrastructure master plan, and our cool pockets designs. And the map here gives you an overview of the most vulnerable areas that I was talking about, our environmental justice areas. So that's what the federal government defines as our environmental justice areas. If the state, however, defines it slightly differently, and it's actually about 90% of the city, the state considers environmental justice areas. So whatever you do, whether you do it at somewhere else or at your own home, you're definitely helping the cause, and you're probably helping your neighbors as well. So I encourage you to do that. And then, of course, green infrastructure during street redesign. So we're with our new transportation mobility department. They're kind of trying to build it in as we make these upgrades, which is the best way to do it. So thank you for joining us for a day of education and action. I hope you get inspired by all this, and let's work together to build a more resilient Worcester. Thank you all.